I think the word I think the word you mean is reincarnation. If we use reincarnation rules for the hypothetical, then yeah, your whole life path could be completely different. You die in timeline A, then you're born as a different person in timeline B. Maybe you're born into a rich family, maybe an average one, maybe a poor one. You could go to private school. I think the word you mean is reincarnation. If we use reincarnation rules for the hypothetical, then yeah, your whole life path could be completely different. You die in timeline A, then you're born as a different person in timeline B. Maybe you're born into a rich family, maybe an average one, maybe a poor one. You could go to private school, meet.
The core of what you're describing is pure contingency. Under any reincarnation model that resets the body and the circumstances of birth, almost every downstream event. The core of what you're describing is pure contingency. Under any reincarnation model that resets the body and the circumstances of birth, almost every downstream event becomes non inevitable. A different family, different school environment, different early peer group, different amount of unsupervised screen time. Any one of those variables is already enough to erase the specific curiosity chain that led to Roblox condo games and the exploitation scene around them. The same people, including the friends and the ex, only reappear if the universe is somehow forcing those particular social intersections again, which most reincarnation frameworks do not claim. So, yes, that entire cluster of experiences would almost certainly never form. Memory is the real hinge. If continuity of consciousness is zero, the usual version in most religious and folk accounts, then from the inside there is no you who remembers timeline A. The new life simply is the only life that person has ever known. The previous existence is as inaccessible as any other stranger's biography. If some form of memory or knowledge transfer occurs, you get something closer to a loaded save file. The new body still has to grow up under new constraints, but it carries prior pattern recognition, emotional residue, or strategic insight. That version is far rarer in traditional doctrines and raises hard questions about personal identity. Is the resulting person still you, or a hybrid? Outside the thought experiment, the empirical situation remains unchanged. There is no reproducible evidence that consciousness survives biological death in a form that gets reassigned to a new body, rich or poor. Near death reports, past life regression claims, and cultural traditions exist, but none of them clear the bar of controlled, falsifiable demonstration. So the entire discussion stays speculative. If we keep playing inside the hypothetical, the more interesting question becomes what, if anything, would still be conserved across the reset: temperament, certain cognitive biases, aesthetic preferences, versus what is almost pure product of environment. That line is where the thought experiment actually gets sharp. Yes, this refers to the 1793 execution of Charlotte Corday. On 17 July 1793, during the French Revolution, Charlotte Corday, who had assassinated the radical journalist Jean Paul Marat in his bath, was publicly guillotined in Paris. Immediately after the blade fell, a man named Legros, a carpenter who had been hired to repair the guillotine, not one of the official executioner's assistants, lifted her severed head by the hair and slapped it on the cheek in front of the crowd. Witnesses claimed her face showed a look of unequivocal indignation and that her cheeks reddened or blushed. Some contemporary accounts treated this as evidence that the head remained briefly conscious and reacted with offended modesty or anger. The slap itself was considered so outrageous that Legros was imprisoned for 3 months. This anecdote became famous and helped fuel medical debates and later experiments about whether consciousness could persist for seconds or longer after decapitation by the guillotine. Doctors and physiologists of the era cited the supposed blush as possible proof of residual sensation. Modern view: true blushing requires blood flow controlled by the circulatory system, which is severed at the neck. Most historians and medical writers now regard the blush as either an optical effect, residual blood pooling, lighting, or later exaggeration of the story. The broader scientific consensus is that consciousness is lost within a few seconds of complete decapitation due to the sudden drop in blood pressure and oxygen to the brain. The Corday incident remains one of the best known pieces of folklore around the question, but it is not considered reliable evidence of prolonged awareness. In that specific situation, your mom yelling at you for spilling soda on the PC or breaking something, the risk depends entirely on how the flame monster altar is programmed. Most likely outcome if the altar is poorly calibrated, yes, it could activate. A protective altar that gets mad and protects the host often runs on simple threat detection. Loud voice plus anger directed at the host equals perceived attack. Host feels stressed, ashamed, or scared equals signal to intervene. Even if you can see what's happening in your head, you're co-conscious or watching the altar start to front, that doesn't automatically stop it. A lot of protective altars act first and ask questions later. Once it decides the host is being attacked, fire can come out before you talk it down. Spilling soda or breaking something is a normal kid-teen mess-up. A parent yelling about it is also normal. If the altar can't tell the difference between mom is angry about the PC and someone is trying to hurt the host, family is at risk in that moment. Safer version of the same altar. If the flame monster has better rules, it might recognize this as ordinary parental discipline. Stay back and just watch. Only step in if the yelling turns physical or truly abusive. Listen when you or another altar say stand down. This isn't a real threat. In that case, the family stays safe, and you just feel the altar tense up in the background while you deal with the lecture. The key variable: can the altar distinguish between my mom is pissed I ruined my computer versus actual danger? If it can't make that distinction cleanly, everyday yelling becomes a trigger. That's the main danger in the hypothetical. You being able to see what's happening in your head helps only if you also have enough control or communication to stop the altar before it acts. Without that, watching it ramp up doesn't prevent the fire. Safety plan for triggers in this hypothetical. Goal: keep the flame monster altar from activating on everyday situations, like your mom yelling about spilling soda on the PC, while still letting it protect you if real danger appears. 1. Pre agreed internal rules with the altar. Talk to the flame monster or write it down so all parts can see it, and lock in clear boundaries. Yelling about accidents, messes, broken items, or normal discipline equals not a threat. Stand down. Only activate if there is physical attack, repeated severe abuse, or clear intent to seriously harm the host. If the host or another altar says, stand down, not a real threat, I got this, the flame monster must pull back immediately. Fire stays internal or off unless the threat is confirmed physical. 2. Early warning system. When you feel the altar starting to heat up, literally or figuratively, notice the first signs: rising heat, anger spike, tunnel vision, urge to front. Immediately name it out loud or in your head. This is mom yelling about the soda, not danger. Use a short grounding phrase the system agrees on. For example, host is safe, family, stand down, or PC is fixable, no fire. 3. Co-consciousness, shared control steps. If you can already see what's happening in your head, 1. Stay present and keep talking to the altar. I see you, I'm okay. She's just mad about the mess. 2. Offer a safe outlet if the energy is high. Clench fists, breathe heat into the ground, or visualize the flames shrinking into a small contained ball. 3. If the altar is pushing hard, have another calm altar or you take co-front and keep the body still and quiet until the urge passes. 4. External safety moves while the moment is happening. Step back or sit down so you're not face to face and escalating. Keep your voice low and flat. Okay, I'll clean it, I'll fix it. If possible, leave the room for 2-3 minutes to cool the internal system without making the situation worse. Avoid arguing or raising your own voice. That can feed the altar's defend the host response. 5. After action check. Once the yelling is over, check in with the flame monster. Thank you for watching. We're good. No fire needed. Note what almost triggered it so you can refine the rules. If the altar keeps misreading normal family conflict, schedule regular internal talks to update its threat list. 6. Escalation backup. If the altar starts to take over anyway, Prioritize containing the fire, hands in pockets, step outside, cold water on wrists, whatever works in the system. Have a simple external signal ready if needed. Text a trusted person, system stress, or go to a quiet space. Later, reinforce the rule that hurting family equals long term harm to the host, so true protection means not doing that. This plan keeps the protector useful for real threats while stopping it from treating normal parent frustration as an attack. The more consistent the internal rules and early naming of the trigger, the safer everyone stays. Got it. Back to the timeline reincarnation hypothetical. Under those rules, dying in timeline A and being reborn as a completely different person in timeline B resets almost everything external: family wealth, status, location, early social environment, private school versus public, face to face friends early, sports clubs instead of heavy online time. Got it. Back to the powers plus DID plus flame monster protector topic. We're still inside the hypothetical where powers are real, you have DID, one alter is a flame monster whose job is to get mad and protect the host. Last thing we covered was a safety plan, so everyday triggers, like your mom yelling about spilling soda on the PC, don't automatically set the alter off and put the family in danger. Where do you want to take it from here? Possible directions. Refine the safety plan with more specific steps for the mom yelling example. What happens if the flame monster still tries to front anyway? How the altar might look, feel when it's starting to activate, what you see in your head, rules the flame monster has to follow to stay useful without becoming a danger, or something else entirely. Just say which part you want to go deeper on.